So here, what we can see here is you can see the battle area is the colored part. If we were playing on a 2 versus 2, we would be using all of this.
Yeah.
So then all this gray stuff here would also be used. So you can see how there are more towns and other things here.
Up in your left corner, you have 500 points of something.
Right, so here's my requisition points. Clicking here, I'll find all the units of different types that I selected to have with me for this battle. So, I mean, I had this division, the 6th Airborne, and I'm not bringing the entire division, right? So you're bringing what battle group do I want for this battle?
Yeah.
And knowing we'll be playing here, I wanted a lot of good infantry to be able to take position inside these villages, make the most of those. But there's also a lot of forests, which are not fantastic if you're a tank, but pretty great if you are an infantryman, so you can hide there pretty effectively. And this map is also fairly open. I mean, you have all these fields. So I brought some anti-tank cannons. Actually, turns out I only brought one now, 2 more later. To keep tanks in check or other armored things in check over the open fields. You can see here, there's complete visibility. So you can see here, here's the front line. The blue is what we currently kind of control. This deeper blue is where we can deploy. That's our deployment zone. So I can't put units outside of this, and the same goes for them. We get points by depending on how much past the middle we push. So we want more than 50% to get points, and then the faster we get them up till ultimate limit, we win.
And one of the other neat things when it comes to the deck system is, of course, that this game is played in 3 phases. Like you've got A, B, and C. So in the top right, we can see phase B starts in 10 minutes, which means essentially for the first 10 minutes of this skirmish, you only have access to your A troops.
Precisely, and you can see here, here are some that become available in B, in phase B. So in 10 minutes, air. I don't have much C units.
Yeah,
a few.
And as a very general statement, more powerful units appear later because it kind of takes them longer to get to where they need to go. Would that be accurate?
That's it. And we should definitely have some. These paratroopers are fantastic. They're very versatile. You can see they have both machine guns, they have some heat grenades, and some better long-range rifles. So they're very versatile. We can use them for a lot.
Because one of the things I also found interesting when you explained it to me is the fact that the front line, where the red and the blue meet, is not just a thing that matters for points. It's also a case of if you put certain troops past that, they will take a lot more stress, which I'm sure you'll get into more lately. But there's actually a case of you want to push it forward. You don't want to run into it unless you have certain really cool units.
That's really it. Stress is bad for people. They get stressed and die. We'll get into that. But airborne units, I mean, if you saw... Did you see Band of Brothers, maybe?
I did.
There's this fantastic quote. We're airborne. We're supposed to be surrounded. So while other units will get pretty stressed once they're behind the front line, our guys with these little wings around them, see these wings, they're not stressed by being surrounded, by being behind the enemy front line, because that's what they're born to do, right? I think we're getting...
Did you have flamethrowers? Did I see flamethrowers?
You saw flamethrowers.
Yes.
These are fantastic ways of getting rid of people in buildings.
And also, for the most of your movement right now, you're using the fast movement, right? So they're going to take the fastest way there. They're going to use roads if possible to get there fast.
Precisely. So they'll sacrifice safety for speed.
And we can already see that the front line is changing, and that we're pushing it out, but they're also kind of pushing it in on the... The fact that it's not moving in the middle usually indicates that there's something there.
Something's going to go down there pretty soon.
And I guess if that isn't clear, if you haven't seen this before, so the number in the top left here, your requisition points, increase with 70 every... You get 70 new ones every minute.
Every minute, that's right.
And once we get into phase B, that's going to unlock the B cards, and then, of course, with phase C, it's going to unlock the C cards. But you're going to keep getting the same requisition points, so you can push more units into the map in later stages.
That's it.
And we can see that the mortar is actually stressing the German unit, because I've learned that is the top bar.
Yeah, so what happens here, this is actually interesting. Let's see here. What happens, I'm going to cover this advance with some smoke. So what happens when someone gets shot at is they get stressed. We don't have HP bars. We don't have any combat going on right now either. We don't have HP bars. We have stress. When someone gets stressed, they will get pinned down, and they'll be rendered completely ineffective.
Oh.
Get in, get in, get in. You can see this is their stress bar right here. So right now you can see that they're engaged. They're not terribly stressed because that was just one shot and they got out. We'll see if we can move these guys. It might get worse. Here we can put this guy and start stressing this guy, because when they get stressed, they'll get ineffective. They'll have to run away. And what finally kills the units when it's a vehicle is not that it's out of HP. It's that it's we finally penetrate the armor and destroy it.
Yeah.
That's what kills it.
But there we go. So currently our units is calm. So that's nice.
Our units are very calm. This one is very stressed. I think we're gonna. So now we see a lot of stress happening here. Our paras have to escape. You can see they're very stressed. And as long as they can escape, then they're shaken. If they get any more fire, they'll be pinned down, and they'll just press their heads to the ground and not do a thing till you order them to regroup and get out of there. So we're gonna have to get that thing away. We do have ammunition, but we don't have reach. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up a howitzer here. Everything gets better with a howitzer. It's how I feel. So we're pretty good. We're pretty well hidden here, but obviously we can't stay here. Now we're pinned down.
And we're well hidden, but we got so stressed we're pinned down.
So I'm going to order them to retreat.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what we can do about that. I'm going to bring in some napalm about these guys. They're already going back, but maybe we can destroy them. We lost visibility on that target. Okay, so this front is a bit more worrisome.
They're also in phase B.
And you can tell. And we're going to bomb these people a lot. So please bombard, everyone bombard. And he's out of ammo. So now we need this supply truck, and we need a supply jeep, and we need it quickly. You there?
Oh, there's a big bomb.
You see, they're pinned down. As the bombs don't actually. It's easy to think they're like, oh, big bombs just kill everyone, right? They're not terribly effective against infantry, but it's enough to get them, shaken up and running back.
And so there's more things coming down that road.
Feel a bit split here.
So we have a question about being able to pause the game, and no, you are not able to pause the game. You're able to slow it down. Yes,
we could. Let's see if we can display bullet time, because I think it's kind of sexy. So we can slow the game down to bullet time. So now we can actually see individual bullets go by very slowly, or we can just play on very slow. So you can see we have a supply truck here.
Yep.
It supplies within this radius, and we can see that now finally I'm getting some mortars back. It's reloading, so we can shoot these guys out a bit. Let's see if my napalm is paying off. Oh crap, they'd actually destroyed this whole building, so obviously it's not a great hiding place anymore. That was that unit. So we're gonna put some stress on these guys. I'm gonna have to order some reinforcements. We can't have that.
Another thing we haven't talked about when we started, I said you were getting a certain amount of supply points every minute, depending on the divisions. If I remember correctly, you actually get different amount of points in different phases. So currently we're getting 125, and our opponents are getting 100.
Precisely, so we can say we're getting 125, they get 100. In the last phase we'll also get a little bit more than they do, but they got 90 in phase A and we only got 70. So I would say we use phase A very efficiently.
We have a question about infantry cover behind walls and similar obstacles. So for example, we did have a ruined building just now, and of course that's less good cover. Does it still give you some cover, even though it's assuming you find it later and you're not like,
this rubble doesn't. So you can always check that out. So I'm gonna nuke these people or napalm these people. So if you give order this guy, you can see here the mouse isn't changing. So this is not gonna help me at all. This here, however, okay, they're pre-select, that's why. You'll get a green little shield if it's gonna help you.
And that building, we put it on fire.
Which is, As we
Oh
wanted.
crap! Oh, there's engagement with the enemy. They're really close next
Yeah,
to the mortar crew.
They really want this.
Oh, and did they surrender, or did the mortar crew surrender?
That was them surrendering. They got really close. They got pinned down.
Yeah.
And when they're pinned down, you can either move them with the units, order them to surrender, and then they're surrendered for the rest of the game. You don't have to worry about them ever again. Or they will get. You can simply kill them.
So the side road to the left is really deforming the front lines here. So we do know that there are some unit within this red area.
Well, what we know is that we are not there.
Yeah.
So we can confirm that we are not there. We don't know what is there. So that's sort of the logic. I mean, if you were a general or a colonel or a commander on the ground, you'd be like, well, we know we're not there.
But we have some units coming in and unloading.
You know what my answer to that is?
I think bombs.
Napalm.
Oh, napalm. Well, that's...
See napalm before? So we're going to move in these tanks. We're going to do massive damage against these. They have these nice machine guns. Oh, pinned down. And here comes the... Where's my...
So just to follow up, since we have some more questions about the camera, essentially you can zoom in really far. And you can also zoom out really far.
Yep.
So, and that's a seamless zoom. So you're always able to do that.
And worth noting, I realized I didn't really answer the question about cover before. All this is different cover. So this cover is actually, since I'm talking a lot, I'm going to slow down.
Yeah.
This cover is actually very useful if you're infantry. Kind of useless if you're a tank. Yeah. And you need to take it into consideration depending on who you are and what you're doing.
So we can see that some of our units are stuck in a pocket now. So how does that affect them?
They get a lot more stress.
These guys
generally,
don't.
Generally life just sucks, but they're airborne, so they're handling this pretty well compared to what other units would.
Yeah.
I see we lost our artillery here. There's planes in the air, so normally they would be very stressed. They would probably surrendered if they were not airborne actually.
Yeah.
But they're used to this. They're trained for this. This is also why we even have this left. Otherwise, this pocket would be eaten.
Yeah.
These guys are doing fine now because they're within their area. But if they were attacking us in our area, they would be taking a lot more stress, and it would be easier for us to destroy them. I don't want to lose this. This is one guy. You can see here on the green.
Yeah.
This is one guy still here.
Poor guy.
He's holding up. He's tough.
Yeah, but the other unit is actually falling back. So maybe we can... Oh, see?
Yeah, look at that. So this one guy just might take out these 8 guys. I'm hoping if I move this tank back here a little bit, I can cut through here.
Oh, he's pinned down again. That's unfortunate.
It's gonna be rough. I'm sending reinforcements. Good. They gave up. That's fantastic. So this was actually a battle of morale. This one guy made these 8 guys surrender because their morale was just they were shaken, they were shot, they were terrified. So when that one guy pointed his rifle at them, they made a sensible thing and gave up to the 6th Airborne.
Oh, they're back in the freaking orchard.
Yeah, they don't get it.
They just leave.
So we're gonna call in some naval strikes. I think we can just bombard these houses. If I can't have them, no one's gonna get them.
I think that's fair.
That's how we work. And these guys will just have to hold out.
So September wants to know if there's an option to remove the front line or the red-blue colors.
No, because it's so integral to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Realize it's a big... It's a lot of graphics happening in your face that you might not be used to. But you'll find that you sort of need it to play well.
It's also one of those things that where we're graphically displaying something that units on the ground would inherently know based on sound and partial visibility.
That's a really good way of putting it. Precisely. So it's sort of a gamified way to show something we feel is integral, especially in this time of battle. Oh crap! This guy is not doing great, and he needs some supply. I don't want to send the supply truck that we already have. I'll send a new one.
Yeah. But it's also one of those. I think it's pretty clear at this point that the actual front line really dictates the way the game works, because it's pretty easy to say, okay, so where are the hot spots, as it were, at the moment? Where am I where are my units scared of sticking around, and where they're like, yes, we're in control.
And also, at this time, this is how battle was fought. You looked at front lines and you tried to push it to get ahead, to get further out.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some type of. Yeah, and for those wondering, I don't think we've revealed the release date yet, but rest assured, once we have a release date, you guys will be the first to know.
So, and I won.
Hooray!
So that was sort of a sort of sail battle. I mean, did I win on 51%? I think.
For most of it, yeah, pretty sure.
This is one of the interesting ways this can go, because we really made use of the A phase. They were kind of slow to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And then they pushed back hard. I should have done more against these guys. We can see here my big mistakes. So here we can see our kills. So these paratroopers took out quite a few units. My anti-tanks here, handled by Anthony.
Yeah. Yes.
Took out 1 Panzer and 1 Ostrop in here. So, I mean, they didn't do great. Like, it's 2 for 1. I wasted a lot of units. This is almost, forgive me, the Soviet method of just meat piling.
Yeah. That said, the Mosquito, though.
Yeah, the Mosquito, yeah. He did some good things. I used him twice or 3 times. He did manage to take out some units. And then this Challenger tank, he's the guy that was positioned on the left flank when that push happened.
Yeah.
And well, we can see that he earned his keep. I find this tool really useful to realize like what strategies worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
So we can see here my anti-tanks that I kept throwing at people. They took out 1 or 2 units and then they were destroyed. So I should probably think of a way to protect them.
Yeah.
Since I'm obviously not. These mosquitoes were, well, they kind of worked for me. You can see in losses here. So I lost a lot against this guy. I think this is the Panzer that was in the right town.
Yeah.
They just kind of stood there from the beginning of the game and just took out a lot that I sent there. So maybe change those tactics. We can see. Well, I was best on my team at least.
Yes, that's great. That's great to hear. So let's see if we have some questions here, because that's about it what we're going to show today. Next week, we will be back and look at the deck builder that we've talked, but we felt like that's important enough that it kind of needs its own.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a big thing. I mean, half the battles won before the battle, because for now, if I hadn't I made a pretty strong deck for phase A. I like to use phase A to the most of my capabilities. Other units are forced to do the opposite. It's a game of its own almost.
So we have some questions here about, will there be a co-op campaign? Is that something we can answer right now?
Yes, we can answer that question with a simple no. There is a single-player campaign. In fact, there are 3 single-player campaigns of various difficulty as Axis. This one, of course, starts out historically, and then you kind of, go from there. There is a US-based one and a British-based one. They're all single-player. They do have some persistency and other interesting mechanics, but they're single-player. Yeah.
But it's also, I guess, one of the focuses, or the main focus, is, at least my understanding, and I might be wrong here, is the multiplayer aspect of Steel Division.
Very much so. I mean, generally, Eugene understands war games and multiplayer games so well. Most people are playing in multiplayer. We're not forgetting single player though. I mean, this skirmish that we just played. Now we played 1-on-1.
Yeah.
But it's you can play 2 versus 2 or several, so you can have a co-op there.
Yeah.
And also for even in the single player campaign, you're not playing against. It's not just you and all the other troops. You will have allied troops in all missions that actually help you. So you get some of that dynamism of like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, I'm so glad he saved my ass.
Yeah.
So even there is this aspect of you're not a lone commander on the map.
Yeah, and there are some questions here as well, like do air units engage each other? Because I since we just did a quick skirmish here, I guess it can be kind of hard to tell.
That's something we could have shown, didn't. There are air-to-air units. I did have a dogfighter in my deck that I didn't use because they didn't have a lot of air going on. I felt like we could handle that one, but they do, and there's a pretty cool air-to-air simulation too. Like if you're a flight nerd, you can see that all the flight patterns in air-to-air combat, or the Stuka bombers, or well, not the Stuka, the dive bombers, and everything is realistic. It's modeled after real movements.
Oh,
Like the way planes actually, not planes move today, the way they moved
Yeah.
then and there. So you could see some of that. It looks pretty cool too. Sorry, I
Yeah.
planned to show that, I didn't.
so, and we also have some questions why we didn't zoom in more on combat, but that's something we will get more into later, especially in the future when we'll hopefully be casting some multiplayer games. We can zoom in a bit more and show what's actually going on.
I'll vow to zoom in more.
It's one of the, but it's nice to hear because now we know that at least a bit more what you guys want. This is the first stream, but it's definitely not the last.
I think it's also a bit gameplay wise. If you have the whole front line on your own, even on a 1 versus 1 map,
Yeah.
you kind of the zoom out is kind of nice. But if say you and I were playing, we
Yeah.
would have kind of one lane each, then I can kind of zoom in more on my side and make the most of it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do infantry units fight more as individuals or as a collective hive mind squad?
Well, the hive mind was invented at the time. No, they fight as units. So everything in the game that you can command fight as units. So you can see the machine gun group that I got killed very early on was a group of 2 people.
Yeah.
There's sort of one hive mind, if you like, controlling that machine gun. You can't separate them. They're the machine gun
Yeah.
crew. While the 10-person groups of paratroopers, they work as one. So you don't separate them, and they work very well together.
Okay. And I think, as been asked a few times, we are unfortunately out of time for today. But we will be back next week, same time. You'll be here. I won't because May and a lot of people from UGen are going to EGX Rest in London next week, and we will be streaming from there as well. So next week you can expect. Let me see, top of my head. We'll have a Steel Division stream on Wednesday. This one. We'll have one on Thursday. We'll have one on Friday. And we'll have one on Saturday.
Intense.
Yes. I'm going to be so tired afterwards. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. We will be back next week. See you then. Goodbye.
Thank you.